Welcome back. There is a bill that is now in committee in the South Carolina legislature that would require video recordings of nearly every moment in a K through 12 classroom in a public school. But the reason for the bill is not about safety, instead, teacher accountability. Queen City News anchor Derek Dellinger live in Fort Mill. Derek, you had a chance to speak with the head of the State Teachers Association, who is also a teacher in Rock Hill, and she has real questions on how this will actually play out.
Yes, and it really comes down, a lot of it to the manpower, how this will all be implemented, especially for districts that can barely afford it or barely afford what they have already as it is. But the sponsor of this legislation, he's an upstate lawmaker. He has reportedly said that the reason for the cameras in the classroom have more to do with teacher accountability and preventing rogue teachers, what he's calling rogue teachers, from pushing ideologies on students. As it stands right now, cameras in schools are not that much of a new thing. Mainly for security reasons, you'll see them in hallways, outside school buildings, but most of where it stops is at a classroom door.
We didn't always have cameras in the hallways. We didn't always have cell phones. We didn't always have, all the online tools that we have these days.
But that's been changing, and there's a big change that one South Carolina lawmaker wants to make.
We have an introduction by Representative Burns, 3118.
Education.
State Representative Mike Burns of Greenville County among those introducing a Parents' Bill of Rights bill. But one of the bills he's also filed tackles cameras in class, requiring them for every classroom for kindergarten through 12th grade. Nowhere does the bill talk about safety. Instead, the bill's language is more specific about teacher accountability. State Representative Burns has reportedly said it's to crack down on what he called rogue teachers pushing political or LGBT ideologies on students. Sherry East, who is a teacher in York County and president of the South Carolina Education Association, says this lumps all teachers to a problem that doesn't exist, or at least not to the extent being reported. The legislation would allow for the public to view the video with proper blurring and identifying information taken out, something East says would very likely bring other issues up, since students learn a variety of different ways and not always at the same pace as some of their other peers.
The goal is to have good learners, to have good citizens come out of our schools, and we need to give teachers that professional courtesy to allow them to do their jobs.
Queen City News reached out to the South Carolina Parent Teacher Association for comment about this. They said they had not yet finalized a position on the bill, but said that they will be discussing at an upcoming meeting to, quote, ensure that our stance reflects the best interests of students, families, and educators across the state. The State Education Association, though, says the bill comes down to not trusting teachers, something they take seriously.
If you want to help a teacher know what's going on in the classroom, why don't you put an aide in there with the teacher? Like, why don't you give me some support that way? If you want an extra set of eyes and ears to make sure teachers are on task, then how about you hire me a second person to help me out? Or come in and visit.
And if this bill does become law, what about the storage of that video? And how long would it be stored? And also, what about the cybersecurity issues of that as well? That is still not answered in this bill that was filed. Now, we did make a point of reaching out to State Representative Mike Burns today. He has so far not gotten back to us. Live in Fort Mill, Derek Dellinger, Queen City News.